Now it's interesting, we talk about, when to hunt bucks in the morning, but I think we need to back up a little bit. Why even hunting in the morning? Why does it excite me so much to hunt in the morning? I think it's a very, I talk about the second rut a lot being one of the most missed times in the deer woods all season long. But there's so many hunters that are missing out on great hunting in the morning. Bucks move 3 times longer during daylight hours. We shoot a lot of our bucks 2 and 3 hours after daylight. How often are you shooting a buck 2 or 3 hours before dark? You don't. It's a 20, 30 minute before dark, not 2 or 3 hours. It's completely different. They're really moving all morning long. And look at the temperature. I believe in the weather. I believe in temperatures, hunting deer in cooler temperatures. Cooler being all relative. It doesn't matter if it's a 90 degree to a 78 degree drop in Florida, or we're in northern Minnesota and we're getting dropped from daytime highs in the mid 50s down to high 30s. It's all relative. It's still a significant drop. Think about that morning. A lot of times it's not heating up to the daytime high until 2, 3, 4 in the afternoon, depending on daylight savings and what time it's getting dark. So a morning that starts out at 27 degrees is going to top out at 52 during the day. If it's often still in the 30s by 10 o'clock, even 11, it's still not even into 45 degrees, 40 degrees until noon, 1 o'clock. So it's not hitting 52 until all of a sudden 1:32, 33, 34, it starts climbing. So you get cool temperatures all morning. Morning has accounted for the majority of my bucks, whether it's 70%, 80%. The majority of my opportunities. And I'm not saying I always capitalize. I've gotten a lot more opportunities in the morning than I've capitalized on. 2010, 2020 were bad years, for example. A lot of morning opportunities that I didn't capitalize on for various reasons of stupidity. Let's just put it that way. But bottom line is the morning hours account for a lot of my opportunity. And you're sitting out there hunting evenings, afternoons, and you're missing out. So I want to see you take advantage in the morning. And when you really look at it, I'm not dumbing it down. This is really, I hunt 3 times in the morning. And one of them, I estimate is 75% of the time. These 3, early season buck patterns, the rut, which counts for 75% of my morning opportunities, and then gun season openers. I always hunt morning gun season opener. Want to get out early, wait for the bucks to come back to a real thick area. It's a really tried and true practice. But sometimes I don't even go out in the morning on the second day of gun season because I'm just spooking deer. They're already in their bedding areas. They're pushed the day before. So I'm going to talk about each one of these right here. It's my number one favorite tactic of how to shoot a mature buck consistently is hunting in the morning. But I don't hunt a lot of times in the morning. All season I'm hunting in the evening. Not every day. But what I mean by that is September, early to mid-October before the pre-rut hits, and then gun season, late season muzzleloader hunting, late season bow season. I'm hunting evening, really focused on evening. So a very small percentage of the time I'm hunting morning, yet it accounts for 70% of my bucks overall. Early season, you're entering the season, when do you want to hunt in the morning? A lot of people are hunting all day, all day in one stand. That's really bad. Now, when you're hunting all day in one stand, do you really have that X of movement where you can expect deer movement all day? First, I want to thank you guys so much for buying and trying our food plot seed blends. Now, I want to introduce to you our Switchgrass blends. And I say blend because we have a southern variety and a northern variety specific to your region. We have a base seed that goes into that's specific to you. And then we have a couple of moderately height stiffening varieties within there so that we can make sure that your stand of Switchgrass stays up longer. Check them out on our website. Thank you guys so much. We've sold seed now in over 40 states, and we really appreciate you trying us out. Check out our Switchgrass on our site, www.whitetailhabitatsolutions.com. Typically, you're hunting food in the morning, you spook them out going in. Let's say you're hunting a bedding area in the morning, perfect. But then the closer it gets dark, the more likely the deer are to leave that area, not come to your area and go towards food. So I'd rather hunt 2 stands in that case. Now during the rut, there is that perfect X of movement where you're between feeding, bedding, another bedding area, and deer can move by you at any time of the day. But those are rare stands. We have, I believe they account for about 15% of all of our stands that we have out in blinds, totaling, let's say, 40 to 45 setups in 2 states. Really have that perfect set of movement. You might have, let's just say 6, 7, where I could say, yeah, I could sit here all day and expect deer movement because so many are slanted towards morning or evening. That way you can account for and look at, this is an evening stand. If I hunt here and it's a great day, then it's a 10 out of 10 sit. This is a morning stand. If I go to that morning stand, I have a 10 out of 10. because it's perfect for morning. Bedding area movement, coming back away from food, well away from food, and then this evening. So if you're scoring the day, that's 20 out of 20. 10 out of 10 in the morning, 10 out of 10 in the evening. Well, what happens if you go into a morning stand and then you sit there till dark? And the closer you get to dark, less likely you are to see deer because they're moving somewhere else. Now you turn a 10 out of 10 opportunity into 2 out of 10 sit because you can't expect much in the afternoon. Now you get a 12 out of 20. You're just playing the odds, putting the odds in your favor. And that's why you look at those evening opportunities. We talk about that in other videos. You're hunting over food source evening. That happens all year long. When it comes to morning, there's these 3 times there's not a lot of opportunity. Number 1, early target buck intel. Going into the early season, you know a mature buck is slipping through this area during daylight hours, going to this bedding area. If you have to guess, is he in that bedding area before light, or an hour before light, or not? Do you really want to take a chance? Because the afternoon-evening pattern is what's very definitive, where you can really count on for that movement to take place. So if you go in the morning and you accidentally spook him because he's already in his bedding area, he's probably not going to be there in the afternoon then. And he probably won't be there for a couple weeks because you spooked him in the morning going in. So you never want to take advantage of a morning sit to hurt your afternoon, evening sit. So you know he's coming in the morning. You know he's slipping through this food source on the way back to his bedding area, slipping through this transition zone on the way back. You feel you can get in the morning around food. You're not going through a food source and spooking deer. You can set up on them. That accounts for 5% of my sits or less. It's really hard to get that intel for in the morning to go out there. Early season, I've seen people have great success. They're coming into this woodlot. They go a mile through this CRP from this food source. You get pictures of them every single morning. You can get into the back of the woodlot, maybe go through a creek system. You pop up, you're on the bank, you're waiting for them to come back to you. Perfect scenario because the food source is a mile away. They have a long transition back from that food source where they've been all night. And you're at the back of the woodlot where you can just sneak in, climb up a stand real quick and quiet, and wait for them to come there. Even if they're 50 yards away, you could probably get in and out without spooking deer. So that's not a lot of our high percentage. Number 3, we'll just skip down to there right now, gun season opener. That counts for 20%. I love gun season openers. A lot of people don't like gun season. It's one of the most exciting times of the year. I don't really get up for, opening day of bow. That's okay. But I want to make sure that I'm making smart decisions. Weather-wise, I know that a certain bucks in certain areas, scrape signs, open it up, camera, trail cam pictures, whatever it might be. Then I'm going in and hunting. But there's a lot of variables that have to take place. For opening day gun, you go. It's opening day. I love getting back into a hidey hole, thick cover, getting on the downwind side, getting on the opposite side of the cover from neighboring hunting pressure, and just wait and see what happens. Might even have a water hole in that area, mock scrape for sure. Might even be on the edge of a food source that I could sneak out to and hunt the food source in the afternoon, evening. But I love getting out on opening day of gun season. This year, I'll probably hunt opening day, Lord willing, Wisconsin, Minnesota for gun, and maybe even Nebraska. Sometimes I get back to Michigan or Pennsylvania for public land hunting. But at least those 3 states, and we've even talked about going down and hunting public land in Ohio for their opener the Monday after Thanksgiving. So that's a possibility too. 4 opening days. And that would account for about, 1/5 of all my sets. I don't hunt a lot of sets because I try to be very tactical and strategic about when I go in. So you have those gun season openers, very, very exciting time. I love that time and getting in. Then you have the rut. I can't wait for it. Pre-rut's when I just can't wait to go into certain morning stands. I'm just waiting right now. It's the end of September. We still have a good 3 weeks to 4 weeks before we get into those pre-rut locations. It's pretty cool. You can see when the rut is starting, when the pre-rut's starting, because we have a lot of water holes that we watch. Bucks love to hit water holes when they're sitting dry all day and they're on their way to an afternoon food source. They'll hit that predictably in the evening on the way to that food source. But after they feed on green vegetation all night, they don't need to take a drink. So they don't hit that water hole in the morning very often, let alone at 10 o'clock, 11, 1, 2. We see the pre-rut heat up when they start hitting those water holes. That means they're more active. It's crazy. It's when the weather drops and temperature drops. It's cooler. They're more active. It's a pre-rut. They're just laying down a bunch of rubs and scrapes. Doesn't mean does are ready, but those mature bucks are. That's why properties that have big bucks, older bucks, will see an increase in rubs, scrapes during the pre-rut, where another property that does not have mature bucks just 2 miles away does not see that increase. Because young bucks don't lay a lot of sign down, but those older bucks do. So those older bucks are there. You see that sign. Great time to go in the morning. They're very active in the morning. They'll move lightly in the evening right before dark. Not much different than October lull time. A little bit of an increase, but morning, huge increase. That last 10 days of October in our area accounts for the majority of my bucks. At least half of my biggest mature bucks during that time of the bow. Incredible time to hunt. Core bucks that are here, they're around the area. And then you go in on an unsuspecting buck in the morning on a stand that you haven't been to for months, even to clear it out or clear lanes. It's been a long time since you've been there. You pop in and he's right there. Could be he's only moving a little bit more. He's moving in the same spot, the same 5 acres. He's just moving more within that small little pocket. Great opportunity. So I'm looking at is pre-rut, backside of bedding, waiting for him to come to me in the morning, going well around food sources when I go in the morning so I'm not spooking deer out on the food source as they're transitioning in. And then I'm seeing these bucks an hour to 3 hours after daylight, and they're coming in to me. Last 8 to 10 days of October, and I'm just going to list some states. I'm sorry if I forget yours, but North Dakota, South Dakota, over into Minnesota, Wisconsin, north half of Michigan, most of Michigan, UP of Michigan, northern Pennsylvania, and then all the way over to Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire. Great times to be in the woods that last 10 days of October, last 7 days. Look for that cold front, because if it's warm, you're not going to see that buck really out there making a bunch of rubs and scrapes moving around during daylight. Wait till after dark. If it's cold front, after the cold front, temperatures are cooler, you'll see that sign. So that's why I say it starts at roller coaster. The 23rd of October, you might see great sign, great rutting behavior, and then it warms up. You don't see any good rutting behavior or sign popping up until the 31st of October, the 30th of October. Just means that it got warm in between. They're not really moving that much, not really getting ruddy, but that cold temperature will make them, not that the cold temperature makes does come into the heat or bucks breed does, just means the rutting behavior is exhibited a lot more during the daylight and a lot more often during that time. When you get into Halloween plus 10 days, somewhere around there, last couple days of October into the first 7 to 10 days of November, that's in a line more like Kentucky, West Virginia, over to Missouri, even Tennessee we can throw in there, over to Oklahoma, Kansas. Pre-rut takes place about 7 to 10 days later. Pretty even line from north to south. Now when you get down south, sorry guys, Louisiana, Alabama, Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, you can have more of that trickle rut, where that rut can take place at any time. Then you're following individual does. If you know this doe, if you're in this area, there's a lot of rutting activity, you know there's no does killed in that spot, early November, in this location, because those does don't move much. Go back to that exact same time, and what you'll find is those does will come into heat about the same time every single year. And what I mean by that, individual does, that's why people that artificially inseminate horses and breed horses, if they're going around, those horses come in to heat at the same time every year, they can plan their travel schedule around it. Doesn't vary by the moon, doesn't vary by the weather, nothing. And so when you get down into an area where you can't say, well, the rut begins, pre-rut, somewhere around the 20th, 24th of October every single year, you'll start seeing rutting activity, and then it peaks up. Then you have that second rut about a month later. That's not the case down in the south. You have that trickle rut. So really try to focus on the individual does in your area. Areas where you know you saw rutting activity on these dates, go back to those areas, because those does are probably coming into heat again. And if you add the weather factor into that and hunt when there's quality weather opportunities on top of does you think might be coming into heat 365 days later, then you can have a great hunt even in the south down there. But it's a little bit different focus than up in the north. So those are the times that I look for to hunt in the morning. Those times, we have those target buck times right now. We're still about 3 to 4 weeks away from the pre-rut, and I can't wait to hunt those. Can't wait to get out there. And you know, every year it comes and goes so quickly. So it takes proper planning, make smart decisions, and you'll find that less is more when it comes to hunting and hunting time. If you just follow the systems, follow the strategies, and it'll put you on success and put you on deer, especially those older bucks, more consistently. And that's what I want for you. So be very patient when it comes to taking your first sit in the morning. I've learned just to enjoy it when I have it. It's fleeting, and I still enjoy hunting those evenings like we're going to do out tonight in a cold front. And take advantage of these morning times. I go to even a lot of clients where they'll talk about, I just hunt mostly evening, I don't see a lot in the morning. Well, you need to know that bedding area stands are more morning, food sources more evening. Really have that definition and difference of stands. Take advantage of the morning. I think your hunting success will go through the roof if you haven't taken advantage of it before. And if you follow this system right here, It'll keep you on track for making sure that you take to a morning stand at the right time, in the right location this year and beyond. I urge everyone out there to really check out my web classes. They've been wildly successful. We have one that details how you should design your land, another one that details how you should plant and maintain and manage a food plot program. How can you make those decisions that fit your land specifically and not someone else's? Unfortunately, there's so much information in the hunting industry that says you should do this, but it doesn't apply to you. These web classes directly apply to you. And then we have our third web class that came out last year, our rut web class, navigating the entire rut. And then we have our fourth one coming out, which is hunting hills and thermals. I urge you to check those out, try the web classes, and they're all about teaching, helping you understand how you can navigate, not only managing your property, food plots, and the rut, but also hunting strategically, hills, thermals, and wherever you pursue whitetails for your dream and your passion.